stuff is quite amusing. Sorry for the ums and the ahs. I do. A lot of people talk about my ums and ahs, me not editing it out. This is for free, so take it or leave it. And I'm just talking, and I'm not a presenter, and I'm not a YouTuber, and I don't want to be a YouTuber. YouTubers usually are controlled accounts, so I would like to speak of my own free will. So let's just put that in there. I find it amusing how things are turning out. It's just before 2025 comes through, and Nut's legal contract is pretty much done and successfully fulfilled, because now that the two princes are global advocates based in America, the heir and the spare, that was the whole point of her existence, of her contract and her contractual agreement. I'd like to recommend you rewatch or watch my video on dialectical deception. It's a political tactic that is Marxist and communist and socialist. It's used a lot in pretty much almost every psyop there is. It's a distraction and a decoy. What it does is it's a tactic where there's a bad cop, good cop. You play both sides, you orchestrate both sides. And it's to distract you while you accept and normalize and justify a major change in that only affects you, to the detriment of your own rights and standard of living. It affects you, but you justify it with this decoy, with the good cop, bad cop deception. For example, now having two British princes that, by law, high treason if you embark on commercial or political endeavours abroad, especially in America, which is meant to have nothing to do with the British Empire or the Roman one, and especially, with concerns and questions about the existence of the Fed and the CFR and the CIA and the FBI and how they came to be. Usually shouldn't have anything to do with that, but here we are. And the successful transition of these two princes coming to America has now been completed. And so the professional contract between Nut and the family are coming to an end, but they have to soften it to the point where she still has titles, where there's still legitimacy over children that don't exist, when there's still legitimacy and convincing that the whole story's been true, and you are to believe it, because they still have to have credibility for what is about to come, and they have to have credibility with now that the heir and his recently recovered wife, while they, applied for trademarks, commercial trademarks in the US while she's been ill, they're now going to have what is now termed foreign tours, not royal tours. They're going to start that in 2025, the year that everything is meant to happen anyway. If you research and read into all of that stuff about an order coming to light, and this order is already in place. It's been in place for a long time through the Crown and Chatham House, but it's all coming to be exposed, to be outed and completely transparent by the year 2025, and that's the only thing that is changing. But there is not really a new world order. The new world order is just a restructure or a way of going about it, like the whole currency crisis, the inflation. The inflation was a foreign policy put through by Bank of England, City of London, during COVID. That was one of the many reasons for COVID. That's why we're facing what we're facing now. the monarchy would be very well aware of this, so, promoted things like or trying to help causes of homelessness and mental health and suicide, while people freeze to death pensioners freeze to death in the UK is just the branding of them caring for humanity is such a brainwashing, is so embedded in each and every one of us that we find that hard to believe. But if you just go with what they would know about, what they would be aware of, especially that they're patrons of the Pilgrim Society, who created Chatham House in the first place, which is basically a one world government. Chatham House, their American branch's Council of Foreign Relations, which governs America. This is what we're talking about. This is the hierarchy. They are the patron of the founder, of this structure. Here we are thinking they do everything for the good of us, and they really care, and we should have empathy, and we should be putting forward and prioritizing our compassion and empathy towards what they go through on a daily basis, which has no connection to reality whatsoever, before our own reality. That is dialectical deception, isn't it? Even in that we are being distracted by this play out of good cop, bad cop, and choosing their reality, their fake reality, their branded reality through PR, because we don't really know them, over our own actual reality and the laws that are changing day by day, and things like that. Just continuously we are distracted. So let me get back to why I'm doing this video. I really encourage you to watch Dialectical Deception. I was watching it again after somebody thanked me for how they came to realize the deception that has been taken place by the monarchy, and the truth behind all of this couple's narrative because of that one video. And I just thought, you know what, it'd be good to rewatch it, because I actually, once I do things, I actually forget its impact and I forget what I've actually said. So it was good to have a rewatch. And I realized now, with all this, with all the YouTube community and all the accounts still attacking and choosing to solely attack Nut, and even if they're outing that this could be a royal family job or orchestration, there are accounts that are simply choosing to project everything onto Nut. That is still very, very controlled and steered. So I just want you to be very, very aware of that. And what seems to be happening, and why I'm bringing all of this up, is there seems to be a shift in dialectical deception, and that political tactic of, now that the two princes have transitioned successfully as global statesmen and advocates for their own order, that they are now collectively being branded by PR and alternative media accounts and YouTube accounts as good cop, and Nut seems to be the sole bad cop. And they're blurring the lines a lot, where it's not so bad. She's not so much of a narcissist. She has a bit of credibility backing her, supposedly, over fuck all, nothing, just PR. So they're trying to blur these lines, but at the same time, there still is now a play. Collectively, the royal family, the two princes, are together in unison as global statesmen and advocates. Good cop and bad cop is Meghan Markle and And now there's a different kind of play happening, ready for these foreign tours to Rome by the heir and his recovering wife that were already planned and scheduled for early this year, still 2024. So that those foreign tours, which make no actual sense as to why the British royal family would be doing so, are about to take place, and they're getting ready for you to accept and normalize those sort of foreign tours, not royal tours anymore, and that sort of interference, infiltration, global political standing, which you're already accepting through Earthshot, let's face it, and all these stupid distractions and decoys and psyops. They're getting ready for that. So they're needing to change it up. They're needing to change the psyop up and dialectical deception so that you will accept what is to come in 2025. So at the moment, there seems to be a separation, and people are laughing it up, considering it as a separation between the couple of Nut and Todge, when Nut and Todge as a couple is not even real. So it's just like yeah, okay. But it's actually clear now through PR that it's a professional separation, which makes sense. End of contract, end of political joint career and project and campaign that they've been doing since, earlier than 2016, but since the public exposure in 2016. They're just telling you that to normalize and to accept this as something that's normal, that's real, a political separation of the two, and for you to completely forget the actual story and the plot of Megxit, which gave credibility at the time to them politically interfering in America and making way for the heir to do so as well. When you go back to Megxit and also to that stupid Netflix mockumentary by Liz Garbage, you've got to remember the base. History is everything. History is important, even recent history. When you go back and you look into that storyline, that plot, just remember that they were going to do everything together. That was the whole branding. If you remember all the articles, they always held hands. She was always rebelling against the system. Even when she was in the UK, they were holding hands. They were being a couple because they were different. They were breaking traditionalism. They were the modern British family image. And of course, the modern British family image is the globalist family image, and that was the whole point of it. But that was what they were trying to convince you of. Okay, so their branding identity was as a collective, because Nut didn't have any credibility and still has no credibility on her own. The thing is, now the project is complete and successful, so they don't need her as much to distract us and to keep this whole thing running anymore. And this is why they still need the credibility there, but they're going to have a professional separation, and they're making a statement about it. Who the fuck does that? It's so unrealistic. So this whole time they're holding hands, their branding within Netflix, within all their deals. They can't even have a bloody Disney experience together for The Lion King without each other. They are never without each other. That was the whole point, and why people were justifying Nut as a narcissist and psychotic, because he couldn't even be himself. And now you're going to get they're legally separating. And And it, there's nothing to do with the relationship. Their relationship's cool, but they're legally separating from one another. It's insane. And then, probably after this, they're going to go, oh yeah, but their relationship is on, on the edge of a cliff, or there's some doubts there, or they have different values now. How? They're promoting the same policy changes under the same values, supposedly. Can you see how this contractual agreement has worked? Their values have been the exact same. They are one identity. They have been one identity this whole time. And now the royal family and the higher ups, the people in charge, are changing this branding and trying to separate the two. And you can tell from all the PR with Taj going back to the family that they're trying to group him and glue him back into the mold, because now the US transition and relocation and transformation has taken place. That's what's really happening. I want you to be aware of this, because I know that my work is completely shunned in this YouTube community and also social media with intention. It's public steering, and I want you to be very, very clear minded with what you see before you. When you see this separation, don't fall for the drama trap. Don't fall for the relationship, finally justice and vengeance is mine. Like, you're not going to get it, because it's not real. It's a complete and utter fabrication in order, regarding the dialectical deception tactic, in order to make major changes that negatively impact our lives. That's like laws and rights and policy changes. And you see that throughout their whole relocation. And they try to use it with fake kids, and they try to use it with, justify it with being abused and abandoned by the family and abused by the newspapers and all that shit. Absolute shit. Just to play policy changes that affect us as the wider public. We're meant to care about these elites' relationships and hardships with their children. If their children existed, do you really think they'd be caring? They'd be the ones with all their professional endeavours. How could they be managing and knowing exactly when their children are on social media? It's insane. The whole thing's insane. I just want you to have a clearer mind. If I can give you that, that's all I ask, and that's all I hope for. And if you have it, I'm more than happy about it. But know exactly what's happening and what's about to come in 2025 is a big year. Trump and Elon Musk on social media are all leading up to the golden age, are all leading up to the new Rome, as per Musk's posts. There's all a lot of symbolism, a lot of wording, and definitely the king and his heir and his spare have a massive part to play. So, and Nut with her titles, just like Fergie, will fall to the wayside, and they will mitigate risk as much as possible. So that's why she will still have the titles, and her children will still have, her non-existent children will still have titles, and you won't see them again, or they'll just fade into the distance. Yeah, or there'll be years before you see them again, and they'll look really different, because of, hormones, or, who knows? Or AI. Who really, really knows anymore? It doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. What matters is that you see this clearly. Thanks, guys.